Hi guys, you're very welcome to another video on narcscon, and we're coming in to you today from South Beach, Miami in beautiful America. What a stunning place, and it's certainly very uplifting to be here, so I hope that comes through in the video for you and brightens your day up to some extent. I hope the traffic's not going to be too loud now. I'm just out here on the patio in my son's house, which is really gorgeous. Today, as promised, I would like to talk about rumination. Rumination post narcissistic abuse, because this is one thing that a lot of people will grapple with and will feel distressed about, because we feel that we're not moving on. We feel people will come to me and say, all my day is taken up, Paula, nearly with thoughts of the narcissist and what I could have done or what went wrong or ways to maybe get back in the relationship or why this happened. So it seems to be quite a debilitating thing, and people feel that it's preventing them from moving on. And most people ask, how can I stop this? You know, how can I get out of this state? And look at rumination in a kind of a negative sense. So having been through it myself and having done all the research and heard so many people's stories about a shared experience that we all seem to go through, I'd like to flip it on its head, if I may. And I'd like to kind of give some insight in relation to how you can move on from the ruminations, but also I'd like to put a positive aspect on it, in that rumination post narcissistic abuse is a necessary and healthy process that we go through in order to rewire our brain and undo the grooming, the programming, and the damage that we have gone through in the narcissistic abuse process. So I'm going to use a word here that applies to moving on from rumination and how we can view rumination going forward, and not see it as a disability as such, not see it as a negative process, but see it as a positive, very positive process that we need to go through to get healthy again, to regain ourselves and to regain our sense of self, and to put us on the path that we need to travel to live our full life's potential. And I was reading just something very interesting there. You meet so many interesting people in this place. It's such a place of positivity. Oh my God, I love America. I would like to live here, guys, to be honest with you. It's such a great place. Okay, so one thing that was introduced to me today was the fact that we all have two ways we can live our lives. I mean, you can say we have many ways, but there are basically two ways we can live our lives. We can live our lives in our purpose, in the way we were meant to live, or we can live our lives in fear and safety and not fulfill our potential. And everyone has the choice. Hard as it may be in some situations, everyone has the choice to stay stuck or to move forward into the life that you were destined to live. So Paula, how do you overcome rumination? The first thing I would say is to stop looking at it in a negative sense, to look at it as a necessary positive, and to know and be fully aware that if you are going through this stage, you're on a journey. Trust the process and know that it's a necessary and healthy process. And don't look on it as a debilitation. And the second thing, and it's this big word I said I was going to mention, is radical acceptance. So what do I mean by that? Radical acceptance will move you quicker through the process of rumination, and it will ultimately lead you on past the rumination stage. Radical acceptance of two things. One, that there are two types of people, two types of human in this world. There is human that has empathy and that will introspect, that will grow, that will move forward, that accepts their mistakes, that wants to grow, wants to learn, and is a productive and positive member of society. And two, there are cluster B individuals who are not like that. They're the total opposite of that. They do not have empathy. They're a destructive force in humanity. They will not introspect because they do not feel there's anything wrong with them. They feel that they're totally right about everything, and the blame is always shifted to other individuals. So they never learn, never grow. And if you stick in the stage of rumination and try and go back with a narcissist, that's their way of actually taking you down to the level of the cluster Bs and destroying the potential choice that you have in your life to add to humanity, to feel a fulsome joy and peace and happiness in your life. So it's radical acceptance that the person you were with, you first of all need to research and find out if you were with a cluster B individual. When you've done that work, and I see that work as kind of the first stage, because you're not just going to jump from narcissistic abuse into a healthy trajectory of your life. It is a process, and it's a process we all need to go through. And it's a wonderful process because it's a chance to feel the pain of growth. So if you can accept, first of all, after research and maybe get coaching, but do your best to fully understand that you were with a person who is not capable, or is capable but is not willing to change, and kill the hope that there is anything that you can do, no matter how much you're willing to love them or sacrifice your own happiness or joy, your money or whatever you're willing to give to make the relationship work. Radical acceptance that there is no hope for a healthy or any productive relationship with this individual. Honestly, guys, once you accept that, you're well on your way back to yourself and into the life that you were meant to lead, with a lot more strength, a lot more wisdom. You're a lot more awake, and you actually are awake to your potential. It's a very positive process if you grasp the process with both hands post narcissistic abuse. You will get to the stage where you see the positive in having endured the abuse because of your input into your healing recovery journey. So it's radical acceptance that this individual will not change. Radical acceptance that you are better off without them in your life, that everyone is better off without them in their lives, because they have nothing to offer other than to destroy. And radical acceptance that you will move from this rumination stage into a wonderful life. If you keep telling yourself and telling your brain and telling your soul and your spirit that you will never get through this stage, that you will never get over this person, then that's the trajectory that you will go on. But if you just change that sentence and you accept that others have managed to get through this stage, and you are also going to get through this stage, and to use the rumination to your advantage, to get to know yourself better, to get to know thyself, then rumination is turned on its head, and it becomes a process to the best you. So don't fret if you're ruminating. If you do the work that rumination brings and you rewire your brain in this phase, and first of all, when the relationship ends with the narcissist, you go into a kind of survival mode where you've lost yourself. The energy's been sucked out of you and you don't know where you are. You're spinning. But if you get through the survival stage, the rumination stage comes next. And that's the road back to yourself, and that's the road to your new self. And that's the choice that's a stage when people have a choice, that they can make it a positive process, or they can stay locked in that cycle and maybe meet another narcissist and not move forward and always look backwards and never take themselves out of it and feel victimized by the rumination. So you have a choice at this stage, and I'm not saying it's easy. You don't just sit down and say, oh, well, I'm going to make the rumination into a great thing. But if you do sit down and say, I'm going to make the rumination into a great thing, and you say that every day, and you use the rumination to give you the answers that you need to understand about your interaction in the relationship, about the fact that the other person was one of the two humans that is not suitable to have a relationship with, and that they're going to go on to everyone else and have the same type of negative experience with everyone else. So guys, that's my answer to rumination. It's radical acceptance of the truth, and radical acceptance that rumination is a good thing, and radical acceptance that it's part of a journey, and radical acceptance that it's something you will move out of. And if you utilize the experience to the best advantage, you're giving yourself a blessing, and you're giving yourself a gift, and you're giving everyone around you a gift, because they're going to experience you coming into the fullness of who you were meant to be through a painful process. But I just call it growing pains. Pain is often used and analysed correctly, a precursor to a rebirth of the soul and the spirit, and an acknowledgement of the strength that it takes you to reinvent yourself as a better form of yourself. So lots of potential here in this stage. Don't let it knock you down. Don't victimize yourself by it. I'm not saying it's easy, but really not being easy is great, because hard work, endurance, strength of spirit, strength of the belief in the humans that love and embrace and find joy in life and happiness, radical belief in that, and radical acceptance of the experience that you've been through, and the fact that it is no fault of your own, will bring you out the other side to be able to experience new things with wide awake eyes, wide awake soul, wide awake heart. And you're going to be a really positive influence on people around you. So guys, from beautiful, beautiful Miami, I will bid you adieu until the next video. Maybe I can do another one here, because it is such a, there's such a vibe here. It's like real kind of 1970s love, peace, power, and all this, and it's so wonderful to experience. Can I be an American? Can I come here and live? I'm so in love with the place. Okay, blessings to everyone, and I will see you again soon. Take care, guys. Bye.